Happy 4th of July, everyone. I did have a thought, though. So, the 4th of July is supposed to represent America's birth. The foundation of America from our forefathers, who coincidentally broke off from the British rule to form America because they didn't like what they were dealing with. The fact that the British rule could not hold itself accountable. We broke off because we wanted freedoms. We broke off because we were tired of being abused. When I say we, I'm talking about the Puritans and our founding fathers. We didn't want to be abused by the rulers, and we wanted freedom. I know there's some couple things in there that I'm missing, but that's the general point. We wanted accountability because for a long time, the British rule didn't hold itself accountable. That's why America started. That's why we broke off. This is why we created the Constitution, to establish rights as a fundamental God-given right. Now, there are going to be people like politicians celebrating the 4th of July, posting about it and things like this. I'm out of North Carolina, so we'll be seeing Governor Josh Stein, Congressman Richard Hudson, and others post about Happy 4th, which I find it ironic, to be honest, considering all that I've gone through. The fact that my rights were violated on camera during consensual encounter, which means I had the right to leave the encounter at any point in time with no consequence because I was suspected of a crime. Officer admitted that. But I was still assaulted and criminally charged. Our government, that's supposed to govern and protect us and hold our rights, took part in protecting the officer. They didn't hold him accountable. They held me accountable for something that I didn't do for somebody else's actions. They had people, they blocked me. The Gibsonville police blocked me on their Facebook page. Promoted the officer. They brought in people to lie during the appeal, which is the only reason why I pled to an obstruction charge in the first place. I like to say this because whenever I see them in public on the rare occasions like Brian Chris, that's their first thing. Well, you pled to an obstruction charge. Yeah, I did. I pled because the lawyer that I hired did not tell me about his friendship with the Gibsonville police chief. And he refused to cross-examine the witnesses that were clearly lying when they said I fought the officer for 20 minutes. When they said they lived across the street, they were clearly lying. No one lives across the street. It's a shed. When they said they were out looking for my wife with four-wheelers and that they called the police because they were worried about us, they were clearly lying. That's why I pled, and my lawyer knew this. I pled because I couldn't afford to go to jail and lose everything that I worked for. Since then, I've reached out. I've been reaching out, to be honest, a lot. I've reached out to the State Bureau of Investigations for help, which is our state police. They would not return my calls. At first, when I would call, they would just give me excuses about having to be invited in by the DA. The same DA that prosecuted me 3 times knowing I was innocent. Twice for the false arrest on August 7, 2022. The district court, the district hearing, and the appeal hearing. And then a third time when the State Bureau of Investigations charged me with misuse of 911 for reporting crimes that the Gibsonville police refused to charge the witnesses for. The witnesses, the same witnesses that said that Jeff Reese, his son Dylan Reese, and his family, the same two people that claim to be concerned about my children, the same people that claim to be concerned about me and my wife fighting, even though we didn't fight. Those same people were harassing us, and I've captured it. Driving by our house late at night, flashing lights in our window, creating a commotion, threatening us. The Gibsonville police, one of the officers, even acknowledged that we were being harassed. No charges occurred though. But I was charged. I was charged in 2025, November, with misuse of 911. And the basis were my calls. So I used foul language, profanity when I was calling. And yeah, you could argue I should have done that. But imagine what it's like for us going through this, having my rights violated, and then hoping for justice, and then we're not getting it. The people that we're supposed to trust, closing ranks and protecting the officers involved. By the way, Sean Boone's running for re-election again. For anyone who cares, who lives in Alamance County, he knew I was innocent. My wife, I reached out to him when this first began. He was cold, and they threatened me with criminal charges for asking for help. This is what our government. This is our government, the same government that tells us that we matter. Then there's Alamance County Senator Amy Galey. Told me she could not get involved, and then I received internal communications later on showing that all the complaints that I had against the chief, she forwarded back to him. One of the emails, just doing my duty, doing her duty was letting him know about the complaints that I'm making and protecting the police chief. She did that, and State Representative Dennis Rydell also did that. These are representatives of the people of Alamance County. They're supposed to have our best interests at heart. But I want to ask a question. Whose interests are they having by blocking the constituents they're supposed to serve to protect the people that they're accusing? And then our Attorney General, it was Josh Stein, who's now the governor. Now it's Jeff Jackson. They sue people. They sue federal entities for things all the time. They may or may not be able to help me directly, but they could push the issue just talking about it. Couldn't even do that. Our governors, they're supposed to govern. That's literally in the damn name, governor. Don't have time to address my complaints or issues, but they have all this time to go take tax-funded vacations, photo ops. They're using the money that we're forced to pay them to do all this stuff, but they don't have time to address real complaints. And so the SBI, again, they haven't been any help. These institutions, our Congressman Richard Hudson can't be bothered to look into my complaints, which is part of his responsibility in the first place. Happy 4th of July, though. But what are we really celebrating? I worked my entire life to buy this house, to take care of my family, to have nice things, just for it to be stripped from me. Now, we're not struggling, but we were at one point. I had to rebuild entirely. I had to change up everything. Prior to this, I believed that I would be protected if I didn't break the law. It's simply not how it works. We are, we're told from the time we're babies till we're adults that our government cares. We got all this propaganda. You see, the majority of TV shows show cops as good guys, shows the government as good guys. From my perspective, they're not good guys. When our oversight committee takes all these steps to protect each other, they're not the good guys. I'm sorry. I watched a clip this morning where a person asked, what makes our country the greatest country? And there was an honest, it was from a movie, of course, but it still resonated with me. They were talking about how all these things, I can't recall from memory, I can't recall the entirety, but like, we're not even the best in education. We don't have free health care. We're the richest country. I think we're the richest country, but you have people living in poverty. We have police harming people on a regular basis for no reason other than they hurt their feelings. And then it's so hard to get any justice. You got to jump through hoops. You look next time an officer gets harmed by a citizen, or they think it, or we think it's from a citizen. You look at the response. You know, in North Carolina, I watched the news where it was said that somebody had shot a police officer, so they harmed him. This individual fled other states. So in North Carolina, they all changed their little, the police agency changed their profile pictures to the badge of the police officer who was shot. It's all around. You have Governor Josh Stein and all these other politicians come out and say how bad it was. And yeah, taking somebody's lives is pretty bad. You know, and they eventually, many police agencies worked together and captured this guy. They captured him in Virginia. Meanwhile, you have an ordinary citizen like me who gets harmed by police. Silence. I comment outside of Alamance County. Even, I mean, technically the Gibsonville Police is in Guilford. I comment, this isn't the right jurisdiction. I comment, Hillsborough, this isn't the right jurisdiction. The response is not proportional. So in essence, I'm reporting misconduct, and because it's in the wrong jurisdiction, it just gets ignored. There's something wrong here. So I ask you again, when we have a president who's getting rich off the taxpayers, who's actually, in my opinion, making the country worse, when we have a government that won't act unless it benefits them, when we have cops killing people and getting away with it, when we have a government that refuses to hold itself accountable, what exactly are we celebrating on the 4th of July?